Now, as much as I wish there was a perfect silver bullet for you to find hundreds of off-market properties a year, in reality, it's actually much more of a systematic approach following these 5 simple steps. Now, the first mistake that most investors make when they're looking for off-market properties is focusing on too many suburbs at one time. To find quality off-market properties, you really have to reduce your plan and your strategy to one suburb at a time. Now, once you've focused in on that one suburb, the reason we do this is to get a very particular type of property that you can brief the agents on. So for me, for example, I'd be looking at one suburb, the quality parts of a suburb, the quiet streets, with a good quality brick and tile home on a 600 square metre block. Now, once you've got your clear brief in place and your one suburb selected, the second thing is to jump on something like Rate My Agent or openagent.com.au and identify who's who in the zoo. Now, effectively what you're doing here is just punching the suburb name in and looking for the 3 top agents in each suburb in terms of who's doing the most volume and who's selling the types of properties that meet your brief. Now, what's interesting after looking at hundreds of suburbs is there's only ever 3 top agents selling over 80% of the properties in an area, and most of the time you'll find 1 or 2 selling between 60 and 70% of the properties in that suburb. Now, once you've identified the top performing agents, the third thing is to give each of those 3 agents in the suburb a quick call and introduce yourself, asking for their email. Now, on that call, because some of these agents can be getting 60 or 100 calls a day, it's going to be really difficult for them to remember what you're after. So the reason I ask for the email is to punch them a quick email after saying, "G'day, I'm really looking for exactly this type of property. Be super clear in the brief and as kind as you possibly can." Now, once you've sent them that email and given them that intro call, I just send them a follow-up text message saying, "It was so nice to meet you. As discussed, I've sent you an email. This is what I'm looking for. If it's okay, I'll just continue to reach out until we find the perfect property together." And then the 5th and final step in finding off-market properties is as simple as giving that agent or giving those 3 top agents a quick call each week, reminding them of who you are, re-educating them on your brief, asking them if they've got anything cool coming up, and then just continuing to be memorable for them and checking in with them until they find the right property for you or the right property comes up on realestate.com. I think the biggest mistakes people make when looking for off-market properties is not reducing it down to one suburb, not being crystal clear on that brief and putting that in writing to the agents, but also just not following up often enough. Now, if you think about it statistically, if a top performing agent sells somewhere between 20 and 100 properties in a suburb per year, then for every 1 or 2 properties they've got online, they're always working on another 1 or 2 properties. What you want to do is check in with them in the weeks leading up to putting a new listing online so that before anybody else has a look at that property, you're getting access to it. You can double check if it ticks your brief, and if it does, try and negotiate with the agent to get an off-market deal. Now, another one of the challenges that most people have when looking for the off-market properties is just the fact that, if you're looking for one property in a market this year versus somebody like us who might be buying 10, 20 or 30 properties in a particular market per year, obviously us calling them every single week as a buyer's agent is going to mean that they start thinking about us more than that individual person that's going to them. So it can be challenging in markets that are a little bit warmer, where there are people like us buying a lot of properties at one time each year. But I think this 5-step process can be very, very helpful for identifying the right suburb, identifying the right brief, identifying the right agents, and then just testing your luck, and fingers crossed they bring something pre-market to you so that you can get access to it before everyone else. Now, for those of you who haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel, please give us a thumbs up, please share this with somebody else who's looking for off-market property at the moment. Each week here at Pumped on Property on our YouTube channel, Instagram and podcast, we share heaps and heaps of tips like this based on our experience of having bought more than $450 million worth of property in New South Wales and Queensland in the last 8 years.
Woo! That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
That's
Cool,
bro. Yeah. Oh, sweaty. So sweaty. Oh, that's good. That's so nice, eh? Oh.